Hey guys, Jason here for Chart Guys. We're doing another installment of TCG trades. So what the Chart Guys is all about is really teaching and learning about charts and technical analysis. We never tell people what to buy. We try to teach people how to recognize chart setups and opportunities and be able to capitalize on them themselves. So our community is always sharing these great setups and opportunities and charts. And what we do in this video series is we take a few of those that are shared, talk about them, and sort of break down how you could utilize that pattern to your advantage. And we're going to start with the GE. So this was a nice triple top play right out of the gate this morning. We saw a high of 927. This was a 5-minute overbought RSI pullback. So we hit 73.86, bounced around for a little while, tried to get into a little bit of a 5-minute equilibrium, and we bounced. Ultimately, we set that range here, although at 918. We came up, we set a lower high, so getting into equilibrium territory when we get to 918. Finally, we try to break that. And, technically we get a higher high, but we smack right into 927. We reject from that level again. So that is pretty foreboding. That is called a double top resistance. Now it gets interesting when we get down here, we hit 919 again, and then we come all the way back up for a triple top resistance test, failed to break through, and that's when things sort of get scary here. So if you get a triple top, that means that there is a lot of big, mean bid wall up here, and they're not happy and do not want anyone to break through that level. So if you get up to 927 again, you failed to break through, that's a pretty good signal for you to take a short entry, and that would have worked out beautifully, right? It would have been, if you had managed to find that perfect bottom, which almost never happens, let's admit it. 904 was your extreme range after that pullback. So how could we have recognized what was happening up here? Well, we know 927 is going to be that triple top. We're going to be scouting and probably eager for a break of 927. And when that fails to come and we start to see a little bit of a slowdown, that's when we start to panic. So we'll go to the 2-minute time frame and see if we had any indication of what was going on here. Here we are, riding up nice and slow, setting higher lows pretty much consistently on the 2-minute time frame. And then for me, it would have been the signal of the loss of 923, pulling back from that level, falling through it, and breaking that support. That tells me that this 2-minute uptrend is over. And when I know that we're rejecting from a triple top and we're getting a 2-minute trend change, I think we're going down. You can even go into the 1-minute time frame and see if we had any higher resolution information, if there's something that we could have utilized. And you know what, maybe you can make an argument for 924, but you know what, that's a penny, and ultimately it doesn't matter. We can see volume picks up as soon as we break that 923. So a good example of a triple top, and recognition criteria on the 2-minute time frame happened to work out pretty well on this one. Another opportunity that was presented was on OSTK. OSTK was on absolute fire out of the gate. We had an extended 15-minute bull flag. Probably too aggressive for me to have played as a bull flag, but we hit that EMA 12, we found support, and then the rest of the pattern really develops out of that. So if we go to the 5-minute time frame, we can start to see that we get this nice tightening range here. We have our low, high, higher, low, lower, high, higher, low. It's the first time I've ever got that combination correctly. It's like saying a riddle. And eventually what we do is we start to see this converging range. This is a large range, this is a short range, and that's indicative of an ascending wedge formation, which is generally breaks to the downside. So we'll go in, try to see what fits the best. And I would say this guy would probably be when you start to recognize that you're in this pattern. You get a couple touches on either side and you get a nice little pop right around that level. Let's draw in our trend. So this is an ascending trend, ascending wedge pattern. And even though we overthrow it a little bit, we get a nice hanging man right up here, 2150, possible shorter opportunity here. And then when we'll check out the 1-minute time frame to see what our signal would have been, but absolute perfect execution, big breakdown, and about $1 move. So not a huge amount, but you know what? On a $20 stock, $1 move, not insignificant, and especially when we've had such a great upside move today on OSTK. So going in for a little bit of investigation, let's take a look at the 1-minute time frame. What was our information available to us? Well, here we hit 2150, so there's going to be that resistance we're going to be watching for, a 1, 2, 3, 4, so a quadruple top on the 1-minute time frame, and ultimately it's going to come down to the fact that we're losing this 2145. This is going to be support on 2 different candlesticks, came into play over here as well, and then when we see the break, we start to see big volume pour in. We get a 1-minute bear flag, and this actually looks better on the 5-minute, but we see big volume coming in at that point. If we go to the 5-minute time frame, let's get over there. Really, it comes down to that break, a little bit of a back test, and then confirmation. So not an insignificant move. It really comes down to pattern recognition, being able to look at those small time frames, look for those resistance levels, and in this case, 1 minute quadruple top, pretty telling into a nice short opportunity. So it's all about being able to recognize when you are in bearish patterns. So the ascending wedge is a bearish pattern. We got a resistance at 2150, failure to break through that. When you're looking at a ascending triangle wedge, I'm doing a lot of videos today. When you're looking at that ascending wedge and you're expecting to break bear, a little bit of a pullback backtest and continuation. So another good opportunity for OSTK, ascending wedge, on today's 5-minute time frame. Next one we're going to take a look at is Netflix on the 5-minute time frame as well. So the Netflix action today, it was really, there's 3 different points where there was good opportunity. And really, 2 of those were oversold bounces, which are very complicated, and I don't recommend you just jump right into those. And we also had a nice bear flag. So we'll start with the bear flag over here on the 5-minute time frame. We can see that our drop is accelerating. We're setting lower lows. We break under 295.85. We consolidate ever so slightly, not being able to retake that former support, and it now becomes a resistance. We see these 2 nice little spinning tops and then further breakdown. So if we go to the 1-minute time frame, we may be able to discern or learn more about what's happened there. Where is that guy? Here we are. So we'll zoom in right on that action. We break below that support and we get into what? A little bit of an ascending wedge. So this is another pattern where you get higher highs and higher lows, but you get this contained action, and you have to bear with me, my magnets are on, but essentially that range is getting tighter and eventually it breaks. We break below EMA 12 on the 1-minute time frame and we drop down. So it's all about recognizing these macro patterns and being able to zoom in and capitalize on those smaller bits of information that we see on those sub time frames. And now the trading view's got like even 15-second resolution. I'm finding myself using that a little bit to try and get some early heads up on potential trades. Let's go back to the 5-minute time frame because we had a couple oversold bounces to play with. And let's go ahead and clear our charts. So the first Netflix 5-minute oversold bounce play was really right here. We saw big volume coming in, and if we go, we can see that we've dropped down on that 5-minute time frame. Nice bounce opportunity, and that took us all the way from our low of 285.72 to that EMA 12 test and rejection. And that's really what a lot of these bounces are going to be. So your question is, how could you have possibly recognized that this is going to bounce? Well, it's going to be the first 5-minute oversold of the day. We did get a little bit over here, but that volatility is very common out of the gate. And because that's that first 5-minute oversold bounce, the first one of the day often results in bulls buying that dip because they're not yet convinced that they're going to be just constantly driven down. And we can see that we've got this RSI declining. We see a big push to the downside. RSI dips down into 24, bounces up. So that's really what it is. It's the first 5-minute oversold bounce of the day, and it generally works out pretty good. If we go to the 2-minute time frame, we did get a little bit of a heads up there too. So we see this big drop on the 2-minute time frame. There's our low. We get quickly oversold on the 2 all the way down. RSI was this, let's see, was that about 13? So that was a good indication. And then we get an inside bar on the 2-minute time frame, breaks bull, and we see that nice continuation. So not a huge move, but if you're trading large positions like a lot of our clients are, you can capitalize on these, and in some cases you can contribute collectively to that sort of bounce. And that's just a good 5-minute oversold bounce play that happened a couple times, and it happened over here as well. I myself did not manage to make the second trade or the first, but good opportunities abound. The next one I want to look at is AMAG. And this guy was just magic. So this, all credit for this one to our friend Matt McGuire, longtime TheChartGuys member, very, very valued aspect of our community. And he posts videos on TradingView regularly and contributes heavily to our swing trade community in the TheChartGuys. And he posted this one on the weekend. It was a daily cup and handle. Absolutely beautiful. Perfect cup, perfect handle. Here's yesterday's action. Getting nice and tight inside bar bull break, and just took right off. And what the key was, hey, we got inside bar, we got a swing trade happening, but also if you go to the 5-minute time frame, and this is when he called me and said, hey man, something's going on here. Look at this nice tight trading range. We're just grinding this level. We have a resistance at 1222. We've been bumping up against that for, I don't know what, half an hour, 45 minutes. And then ultimately we just managed to break through it. Big volume starts to come in. We go from 1222 all the way up to 1265 for a close. Absolutely perfect. And what was the criteria here? We had a daily bullish setup for a daily swing trade. We are expecting upside continuation and execution, and then we get into a situation where we have a lot of bull strength. We're seeing 5 minutes, higher highs, higher lows. We find an area of resistance, and we're just grinding it. Bulls are not giving up any territory. Finally, we break through, and we see that rocket ship take off. So a lot of good opportunities all over the place. This is what we do at Chart Guys. If you want to learn how to do it, come check out chartguys.com, send me a message. We'd love to have you in the community. We want to teach you how to do this too.